All right, continuing on, this is part 8 of the milled AK-47 receiver. I've decided after looking at the print between the last section 7 and this one that I'm actually going to do the magwell first because this one could take up a good portion of this video. So the reason for that is there's actually going to be 2 lofts involved. I'm going to actually loft the core of the magwell, and then I'm going to loft the magazine latch area separately. So let me throw up the sketch, or sorry, the print on the screen quick. And the primary views I'm going to be looking at for information are this one and this one. This one's going to give me the angles that I'm looking for while I'm making my lofted cut, and this one is going to tell me the information relative to laying out the profile of the magazine well. So let me go ahead and throw that over on my other screen. And the first thing I'm going to do is create a reference plane from this edge, and I also want it parallel with my top plane. So I'm going to choose parallel over here and hit OK, and then just drag it out approximately the distance I want, so something like that. And I'm going to sketch on that right away, and I want to view it from the bottom, and I'm going to lay out the sketch for my magazine well. So let me just read a few dimensions here. Okay, so I'm going to draw this using 2 rectangles, center rectangles. So my first one, I'm just going to approximate something like that, and my second one is going to come in somewhere around there. And then I'm going to add all my fillets right away. So I know that the large rectangle has 4 4mm fillets, and my smaller rectangle has 2 3.5mm fillets up front. And I'm going to take my center points, hold Control, and make them fixed horizontal. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this center point and my origin. Fix horizontal. Now I'm just going to kind of drag and scale this the way I'd like it, and get some dimensions on here. So from the back of the magazine well to the front of the latch is 65mm. The magazine well is 26mm wide. The latch well is 22mm wide. And from the front of the well to the end of the receiver, the front end, is 50.2mm. And the last dimension is actually at the intersection of the radius, the fillets, and the latch well here. So I'm actually going to do some trimming to clean this up a bit. Just going to drag this and get it in the middle here. I can wipe that out. And that's good enough. I don't need to trim all this out because I'm actually not going to use this to cut yet. So this is actually going to end up being a frame for my lofted feature. So this is good enough right now. I'm just going to escape out and then grab another dimension and grab the intersection there and the end of my receiver, and that is 63 millimeters. And you can see my sketch got kind of lopsided here, and the reason for that is my center line is messed up from doing the trim. So what I'm going to do is pick my midpoint on this line and the center of my rectangle, and I'm going to fix those horizontal. And there you can see I'm locked in. So now these construction lines here, I can actually just delete. They're not really being used for anything. This endpoint still is. So let me delete that, and then I'm going to reallocate its relations to the other center point here. So you can see this one's not fixed on center anymore. So let me shift that back. Grab this point, hold control, and grab my origin, fix them horizontal. And then same thing, grab this endpoint and this midpoint, make them horizontal, and now I'm locked down. So now all my lines here I want to be construction geometry. So let me just see if I can highlight all that. Toggle this once. There we go. Okay, so that's my first sketch. My second sketch is going to be the framework for the overall depth of the magazine well. So I'm going to sketch on my front plane, and I'm going to tilt this just a little bit so I can see that sketch below here, and grab the front edge like that and drift the line over, something like that, just a right triangle. So let me see if this point is connected, which it isn't. Okay, this point here needs to be fixed coincident with that edge or that construction line below. So let's make that pierce. And then this point here is going to go all the way through up to the material we still have in the receiver, up to this plane. So we're going to hold control and grab this surface, and it's not going to let me pierce them. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll actually grab this edge and we'll convert entities. Let's make this a construction line, and then we'll grab this point and this construction line and make them coincident. And then my last thing is going to be a dimension between this line and this line of 15 degrees. And this could possibly be used as a guide curve for my loft, so I'm going to leave this one as an object line, but these two I'm going to change to construction lines. So that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and finish that. My second sketch is going to be on the top surface inside my receiver, right there. And I'm just going to drag another center rectangle, something like that. And I'm just going to fillet the corners to 4 millimeters. This is actually going to match the rectangle, the large rectangle below it. So I'm going to lay it out almost exactly the same way. Grab my center point. Oops, close that command. Grab my center point and my origin, fix them horizontal. And then I can actually lock this edge and the construction line below it collinear. And then this rear edge and the edge below it are going to be collinear. And then the edge up front and the point where my slope, my 15-degree slope comes back, is going to be the locking feature for the front edge. So I'm going to hold the control and grab those two and make it coincident. And I'm fully defined. So I'm actually ready to go ahead and loft this out. So I'll close this. But before I do, I'm going to go ahead and add in my, no, you know what, let's go ahead and just loft this quick. That'll make it easier to see. So go to Features, Lofted Cut, and actually, sorry about that, we need one more sketch. Let's go to Sketch, and we're going to sketch on our first plane that we created again, and this is going to be really easy. We're just going to go to Convert Entities, and we're going to go all the way around this rectangle. Just like that. That's it. Now we're ready for a loft. So Features, Lofted Cut. I deselected that first sketch, so if you still have it selected, that's actually good. But I'm going to pick this one, and I'm going to try and pick that one, and it's getting confused with the sketch below it, so I actually need to hide that. I'm going to go under my tree on the side here and hide the sketch below it. Now I can select this one clearly. And it looks like my loft is going to work pretty flawlessly without that guide curve there, so I don't even really need it. But I do want to dissolve that sketch so it's just not floating in my tree, so I'm actually going to use it as a guide curve anyway, even though it's not really helping me. And that will just dissolve the sketch into the feature. So that's the first cut of our magazine well, and I can already see something that I'm not liking. Okay. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. So if we look at this from the top, you can see there's a tiny little membrane of material left that we didn't quite cut through. And that's a real simple fix. Instead of locating this plane off of that edge, I'm going to locate this plane off of the edge behind it because this edge is lower than this edge. So I'm going to highlight this plane to find it in my tree over here and right click it and edit feature. And I'm going to deselect this edge and select this edge instead and finish it. And then I can just highlight it and grow it again just so it's in the proper location that I wanted it. And there, now you can see that our loft has automatically adjusted itself to cut through the rest of the material at the bottom there. So that's what our magazine well looks like without the latch area lofted in yet. So that'll be our next step. And for that sketch, I actually need to create another plane. And before I do that, I just need to figure out how deep it's going to be. Okay, 27.4 millimeters. So my next plane is going to come off of the top side of my receiver, and it's going to go down 27.4 millimeters. And I'm going to grow it and move it into position. Pretty much similar to the one right below it. And then the next thing I need to do is show that sketch that I used as a framework for my first loft. So I'll show that sketch again. And then I'm going to sketch on my front plane. And we're going to create another right triangle like before. So I'll just draw out generically a right triangle. And then this front point here is going to be coincident with the front edge of my latch area. And then the top point is going to be piercing or coincident of the plane that I just drew. And then lastly is the angle between these two, which is 30 degrees as opposed to 15 from the last one. And again, these two are going to become construction geometry, and I'm going to leave this one an object line and finish that. And then the next thing I'm going to do is sketch on this plane again, and I am going to convert entities, these 5, and then I'm going to stretch or extend the back lines here, and then cap them with a line, making it vertical. And then I'm going to fix this back line to, I think this edge should work. So let's make them collinear. And then finish my sketch. Now I'm going to start a second sketch on this plane. And I'm going to draw a center rectangle somewhere in this vicinity. Add my fillets, which are 3.5 on the front. And this edge and this edge can be collinear, as well as the bottom edge and this edge collinear. And the back edge can be collinear here. And my front edge is going to be coincident with the front point. And that is going to be my second lofted feature. So let's go to features, finish my sketch, lofted cut. I've already got that selected, so I'll just select the one below it. And you can see it's twisted. I can actually fix that by just dragging this green point to be above the same vertice, or its similar or counter vertice, I don't know what you want to call it. And that'll straighten it out. But again, I do want to dissolve that guide curve within the feature, so I'm just going to use it and go ahead and finish that. And now we can go ahead and hide all of the reference features we used to create that. And there you have it. That's our semi-finished magwell. Obviously, we've got a bunch of material to take out here, but this is all milled on plane, so we don't actually have to take this out with a loft. Let's see. I might save that for later, and then we can go back into the receiver now. Let me look at the first one I did and see where I went after this. Let's see. Okay. We're going to cut this. We're going to finish off the receiver on the inside here. So we're going to start a sketch on this face here. And I'm going to do a section view to make this a little clearer to see. And I want to go off my top plane and then go just deep enough that I can see that without any rails in the way. Like that. And there are a few features that are asymmetrical when it comes to the milling out of this. So our wall is actually going to grow a little bit as reinforcement areas for where the trigger and hammer pins come through. So I'm just going to go ahead and sketch that instead of describing it. Gonna cap the two radiuses there. And then I'm just going to do a convert entities on this edge and its opposite edge. Or no, actually this edge. Convert. Extend this one back this way and trim off the rear. That one's already going forward, so that's good. And this one's actually going to come all the way up front. Let me get refocused here. There we go. This one I'm going to extend. Something like that. Yeah, my endpoint is invisible because it's in the blue field right now. I should probably just change my cap color of my section view, but that's all right. The next thing I'm going to do is come back here and sketch where the little reinforcements in the sidewall are for the pins. So I'm just going to do something like that and then come in with some arcs. And then go back and make sure all my arcs are tangent with that back edge. Once they're all tangent, I'm going to select all four, make them equal. And let's see what the radius is. Looks like 13 millimeters. So I'll just dimension one of the four, 13 millimeters. And then I can go ahead and dimension them. And they're all dimensioned from the front of the receiver. So I'm just going to grab that back corner and go all the way up front here to my origin. That'll be 178. And we've got 169. And let's see if I can get in there. There we go. 143. And 130. Okay, that looks good. Now the last dimension I need to define those is from this surface to the edge. You got to be really careful not to grab this edge by mistake and grab this edge. That's going to be 29.5. So those are locked down. I can go behind them now and trim out the wall behind them or the edge. And then we're going to focus up front here now. So we can actually cap these ends with a vertical line. Drag it out somewhere right here. And there is a dimension we have for this edge. We'll go out here with it. Let's see, what is that? 90. And then we've got a couple fillets to add again, which I'm going to use the arc tool, make it tangent to this edge, and make this one tangent to that edge, then make them equal. And actually, these are also 13, so I can make these two equal to any one of those 4 that I previously made. And then we're going to do our split entities. And connect all of our endpoints. Let's make this edge and this edge equal, and construction. And then same thing here, construction. Construction. Now that should be fixed. So, oh, never mind. One more dimension. End of here and end of here is 26. Now we're fully defined. Okay, so this cut will be at 11 millimeters deep. Features extruded cut 11. And that looks good. And we can go ahead and turn off our section view. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go back under section, and I'm going to change my cap color to red. That's easier to see when I have undefined geometry that might be in the sectioned area. I can turn that off. And the next thing we can do is cut out the very remainder of our internal receiver material. And that's a real simple sketch. So I am going to get on this surface, hit sketch, and actually let's do a section view again so we can see that. We'll come up here. We want to be right there. That's good. Okay, so we're going to do convert entities, and we're going to grab this whole thing and hit OK. But we're going to delete this, this, and this, and we're going to cap the back. And then up front here, we're actually going to delete this, this, and this. Actually, here, watch this. We're going to take all of this and delete it. And then trim this back a little bit, grow this one forward. And we're going to convert this edge, if I can, and this edge. Convert. There we go. And this one actually isn't tangent right now, so I'm going to fix that by connecting these two endpoints. I've got a little flange there, or tab. And just remove that and make these two tangent. And then I can just grab this and make them equal. If I can find it. Actually, here, I'll just grab its opposite. This one and this one, make them equal. And then this point is going to be fixed on this edge. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, okay. This point will be fixed on this edge. And now I'm broken. I don't get it. Let's get rid of this relation. There we go. Okay, so let's go to features, extruded cut. And this bottom surface here is not planar or coplanar to this. I guess what I mean to say is this sketch is not parallel with the base of our receiver. So even though we want to extrude cut up to this, we're not going to be able to do it with anything like blind or something. So all we need to do is go to up to next and just click this face. Or I'm sorry, up to surface. Click this face, finish it. And there you have it. So the reinforcement for the trigger pin goes all the way to the base. The reinforcement for the hammer pin does not. So we've got that cut clearance underneath now. And the inside of our receiver, as far as the fire control group area, is pretty much finished. All we need to do is add fillets. But I'm right over 30 minutes with this one, so we'll add fillets in the next step. But that'll do it for part 8, and we will see you on part 9.